Hey guys, what I have in my hands are Vermont DMV license plates. The big deal with this is that I purchased a car in a private sale that I couldn't register in my home state of New Jersey because the title had some issues. So I'm going to walk through the process of how I used the Vermont title loophole in March of 2022 to get this car titled, registered, and legal. What you first want to do once you purchase the car from whoever you purchased it from is head over to the Vermont DMV website, go to the registration section, and then click on New Registration. The page will give you some further details on what kind of documentation you need in order to register a vehicle. Basically, all you're going to need is two forms. That's the VD119 as well as the Bill of Sale and Odometer Statement. You're also going to need a printout of the NITA value of your car. And this is something you can freely look up online to see what the used value of your car is worth. That value is important because you're going to have to pay tax on the value of this car to the state of Vermont during this process. The Vermont DMV website has links to all of the forms that you need to fill out. They're going to be in a PDF format. They're actually better if you actually type them out on your PC as opposed to printing them out and handwriting them. So basically just download the form and then start typing onto it. It's a fillable form in PDF format. Here's an example of the first form we have to fill out. It's the VT005. This is the Bill of Sale Odometer Statement. On this form, you basically just make a copy of your existing bill of sale if you have one. You're basically going to reproduce it in this form, in this format. So I basically added all of the content from the bill of sale onto that particular form, recreated everything as it was listed on my bill of sale. I didn't need any signatures of the seller or anything like that. I just basically put all the information from the bill of sale onto that form, as well as obviously the current mileage of the car, the odometer statement. The next step in the process is actually filling out the VD119. This is the most important form. This is the crux of everything. They're all basically important because you need everything, but this is the form that has all the meat. In this form, you're basically applying for a new registration in the state of Vermont. It doesn't matter if you don't live in Vermont, because I live in New Jersey, but you're applying for a new registration. Just fill everything out as it's listed, as if you were applying for a new registration. And again, it's irrelevant where you currently live. At the bottom of the form, there's a section that has you fill in the NITA value. So this is where you'll look up the used value of your car on the NITA website. My car was a 2001 Land Rover. So I basically just looked up the value of a 2001 Land Rover. And then you insert that value here where it says NITA value. You also insert right above it the purchase price of the car. So in my case, I think I paid about, let's say, $3,000 for the car. Whatever one is higher, the purchase price or the NITA value, that's what you're gonna pay tax on to the state of Vermont. So in my case, the purchase price of the car was higher than the NITA value. So I had to pay tax on the purchase price of the car and fill that in here on this particular form to the state of Vermont. So here as an example, you can see my purchase price was $3,300, NITA value was $2,600. So the net taxable amount is still $3,300. It's whatever's higher. Lastly, I had to include the amounts that I had to pay to Vermont. As you can see here, the registration amount is the standard $76. The taxes was $198. That's the tax on the actual purchase price of the car. But in your case, it might be the tax on the NITA value. Again, remember, it's whatever's higher. The last step of the process was figuring out, who do I mail all this stuff to? So basically, I went on the Vermont DMV website and looked up their contact or locations field. And I just basically mailed it to the main Vermont DMV office, which is the Montpelier main office at 120 State Street. So I basically, the next day, early that morning, went to the DMV, got a money order for $274, filled it out to the Vermont Department of Motor Vehicles, and then mailed everything to the Vermont DMV priority with a tracking number so I could track to see when they received it. And then the waiting game began. I kept checking the tracking number every day to see when they received it. They received it in a day. And then I checked the tracking number of the money order itself to see when that was cashed. They ended up cashing that within about a week of when they received all the paperwork. So once that money order was cashed, I was happy. I knew I was good to go, and it was just a matter of time. So about 2 weeks later, I received this in the mail, and this was the actual Vermont registration. This was making everything legal for the car. Since Vermont is a non-title state, they don't issue title, so the registration is your title for all intents and purposes. This registration showed me that I already had a license plate number assigned, and then it also gave me a sticker to affix to the license plate. So at this point, I'm basically 90% done. I'm just waiting for my license plates to show up because that's the last step of the process. And that kind of had me on edge because a lot of the videos that I saw online, everyone explained that they received their license plates magically in the mail very quickly, and then they had to wait for their registration to appear. But in my case, my registration appeared very quickly, and then I was wondering where my license plate was. So the good thing about receiving the registration first that no one mentions is that once you have the registration, you can look up your car information on the Vermont DMV website. So just to calm my nerves, I went to the Vermont DMV website, typed in my VIN number and my license plate number, and lo and behold, my vehicle came up as an active car within their system. So that made me happy because I knew everything was good to go, and it's just me waiting for the license plates. And then magically, within another day or two of me checking the Vermont DMV website for the registration information of the car and saw that it was active, I received this in the mail with my license plates. So I had made it to the finish line. I couldn't believe that this process actually worked. It's a fully legal process. Received my license plates in about a month. So now at this point, there was nothing else to do but go outside, throw the plates on the car, and enjoy the drive. Thanks a lot.